We're getting closer to the Manitoba Derby. Time to cap the card at Assiniboia for Monday, July 17.
Today's video is brought to you by Assiniboia Downs Gaming and Event Center. And be sure to tune in to Trust the Profits Live Monday.
Salutations and welcome, friends. I'm your host of this episode of Capping the Card for Assiniboia Downs. My name is Matthew DeSantis, and you can find me on Twitter at the handle at Failed to Menace. Well, welcome everyone to an exciting episode of Capping the Card where we're going to go races 1 through 7 and give you my top pick, my top value play for every single race on Monday's card. And make sure to come to the Trust the Profits live stream on Monday nights, 8 p.m. Eastern. They're going to get you ready for the StableDuel contest. They're going to be with you from races 1 through the end of the card. Now, as a lot of you have already known, and I've made it known in a couple of other videos, this is going to be actually my final video for Trust the Profits. I was very fortunate, and I have accepted a position with the New York Racing Association to be a content producer for NYRA and NYRA Bets. But as a result of that, I'm not going to be able to continue to make content for Trust the Profits. I'll still come back, be a guest on the channel, and you'll still see me in the lounge in the comments section on Monday Night Lights. I'll be with everybody else commenting and talking to Colin and, talking to El Hombre and Sean and Carson and all the other wonderful people. But like I said, make sure to continue to subscribe. And if you haven't subscribed already, make sure to press that subscribe button to Trust the Profits, because I know all of the great content that they have planned coming up for the rest of the summer. I leave this network in very strong hands. I'm so thankful that guys like El Hombre and the Formula welcomed me onto this platform, gave me the opportunity to interact with all of you. Really appreciate it. But listen, enough of the sentimentality. Let's get into capping the card, and let's talk about Monday at Assiniboia Downs. And I mentioned the Manitoba Derby's coming up. We have a Manitoba Derby trial stake in this card on Monday. So a lot of horses we're going to be seeing in that Manitoba Derby already starting to dip their toe into the deep end of the pool to some extent. Well, let's go into race number 1 on the card, which is the $10,000 claim. We're going 6 furlongs for 3-year-old and up, and this is for fillies and mares. And I went to the second choice on the morning line, which is the inside horse Chicago River for Shelley Brown and Antonio Whitehall. The favorite is the number 2 horse Margot's Girl at 7-5 for Jared Brown and Jorge Carreno. And those are certainly very capable connections. And this is a horse that is dropping down from an optional claimer 10, but it's important to point out that Chicago River is doing the same thing. Actually, it had been running at Assiniboia and then went to Century Mile just about a week ago and ran an optional claimer 12 there, was running in some optional claimer 10s here at Assiniboia, and even ran in this kind of claiming 10,000 level non-winners of 3, and finished second by a neck to a horse Ensley's Dream, who came back to win next time out. That's one of the things that you'll note about Chicago River, and one of the reasons I really like this horse. This year has raced in 4 races and has faced a slew of next out winners, from Kate's Princess to Ensley's Dream to Queen of the North to Adams Creed. These are all horses that Chicago River either beat or finished right behind that came back to win next time out. So has been keeping very good company. 3 for 3 in the money at Assiniboia. The other thing I like is there's not a lot of speed in this race, interestingly enough. I think Chicago River, particularly with Antonio Whitehall aboard, is just going to gun it from the rail. The only other speed in this race is on the outside, Miss Langskip, but that is a horse that really fades and is just kind of will flash some brief speed and then fade back pretty quickly. So I don't think that one's too much of a threat. I think Chicago River can be controlling speed from the inside rail, and that's why I have it as my top pick. Now, in terms of where am I going to go for my value play, I'm going to go to a horse that you don't see this very often, but a horse at the Lyric, 8-1 for Blair Miller with Demario Bino aboard, who we've been talking about Demario a lot on the live streams. This is the jockey who seems to just be kind of up and coming at Assiniboia, 18% on the meet, but more importantly, he's bringing home prices a lot of times, and that's something to pay attention to. So he's been doing really well this meet. And at the Lyric is a really interesting horse. This is a horse that had a great season last year, is 5 for 6 in the money at this distance, is 4 for 5 in the money at Assiniboia, 2 wins at the distance, 2 wins at Assiniboia. Here's the thing. This horse came out, ran a really very poor race off the bench from that September 22 to May 23 layoff, and has not run since that May 22nd race. Took a little bit of time off, You didn't see a lot in the workout tabs from that race until June 23rd, but now has registered 3 works, a 3 furlong and 2 4 furlong works since then, and has been the best of the day during those works. They weren't bullets because not enough other horses were working out on those particular days, but still recorded this best works on those particular days that they worked out. And again, horse taking a class drop was up to this optional claimer 10, optional claimer 15 level last year, actually. I got a win at an optional claiming 15 at 6 furlongs. It's a horse that's gone up against, again, Kate's Princess, Chicago Bear, Mia Bear, At the Lyric. It's gone up against some really nice horses. So I just think this is one who can get the job done here. And I like At the Lyric quite a bit in this spot. 8-1 on the morning line. I think you're going to get nice value here for the Blair Miller Demario Bino horse. Let's move to race number 2 on the card, which is a $20,000 maiden special weight going 6 furlongs. And this is I think, a pretty fun race. It is for 3-year-old nut fillies and mares, I should mention. I'm going to go to the favorite in this one, Double Barrel Delight. This is a horse I really like a lot, and I've probably been on this horse a couple of times and hasn't really come through yet. But this is one where, again, I think the pace setup works really well. 6-5 in the morning line for Michael Knowlton, Shavian Chow aboard. I like this horse a lot because there's quite literally no other speed in this race. And so I'm not worried about the sort of fractions this horse is going to have to turn out or the sort of pressure. That's one of the other things. This horse didn't set blazing fractions last time out at 6 furlongs, but also was kind of pestered the entire way around. I don't even know if this horse is going to be pestered. I think this horse might just open up a couple lengths on the field and be able to just really get into a nice, very easy ride. Also getting the blinkers added, that I think is going to help focus this horse a little bit more coming down the stretch. But this is a nice horse that's past other horses coming from off the lead. Last time out went to the lead. I think it's probably going to go to the lead again on Monday. But I think a 6-5, listen, you're not going to get much of a price here, but I like this horse a lot. And it certainly turns in a lot of honest effort. 6 for 6 in the money, despite never breaking its maiden. So that's where I'm going to go with my top pick. Now, from a value play standpoint, I love the number 7. I've got all night 6-1 on the morning line for trainer Devin Gittins. Gittins is pretty good at getting horses ready first time out, 20% over the last year with a 339 ROI. So you have to like that. But more importantly, I've got all night's Damn Hearts of Gold has 3 raced offspring. And guess what? 3 for 3 in the money. You're not going to get much better than that with 1 win as well. So you see a lot of precocity. You see the pedigree. You see the trainer connections. I like this horse at 6-1 quite a bit. So that's one that I'm absolutely going to be using underneath because if nothing else, this demonstrated this dam has produced horses that run very honest first time out. Let's go to race number 3 on the card, which is the first of 2 maiden claiming races on the card. And this one is $7,500 going 6 furlongs for 3-year-old nups. And this is for state breds. And hard for me to get past the class dropper here, GB's Turbo, the number 5, who is dropping in from the maiden special weight company into a state restricted maiden claimer. So not just dropping into open maiden claiming company, but state restricted maiden claiming company. And this is one that just feels like it's the right sort of class drop. Jerry Gorno is the meet's leading trainer, despite starting 0 for 13 at the meet. Now is, got 21 wins and winning at an 18% clip. This is one that's, again, faced some really nice horses in the maiden special weight level, like Private Frank, like Kentucky Jake. There's some nice horses there and is now dropping down considerably. This is a horse that does not need the lead, and I would imagine is going to be very content to let the number 2 horse, Ama Star, and the number 6 horse, Shotgun One, kind of go at it a little bit up front. Both of those horses have superior early speed figures, but dramatically worse late pace speed figures. So I think GB's Turbo would probably be content sitting just off of those 2 and then launching a bid past them. But it's a lot of the times at Assiniboia, when you see the class drop from maiden special weight to maiden claimers, that's usually a really, really, really big difference. And that's usually kind of money in the bank a lot of times, especially considering a horse like Ama Star, who's a very nice horse, but has been running at this level for a while now and not gotten the job done. Shotgun one, if there's a horse that's not the favorite that's going to be able to step up and get the job done, is probably that one for Jared Brown and Demario Bino, just because that's a horse that's only raced 3 times, hit the board twice, and you could see legitimate progression each time out. So maybe 4th time out, you're going to see something even better from that horse. 3-1 is not quite enough of a price for me. If that horse was something like 5-1, 6-1, might have been my top pick. But at 3-1, that just doesn't feel like great value. Again, pay attention to what the odds are come post time because they could fluctuate quite a bit. Now, in terms of my value play, I'm going to go to a horse that I think fits that shotgun one profile a little bit, and that is the number 7 Keystone Cash for Devin Gittin again. And this is an underneath play only, I would say, but this is one that has been showing improvement every time out. And it's not always necessarily shown up in the speed figures, but this is a horse that debuted last year, one time, comes back from that 9-month layoff, runs in June, is beaten by 8 1/4 length, comes back, and this is all at the maiden claiming 75 level, comes back in June 19th, finishes 3rd by 5 3/4 lengths, comes back in July, runs 6th, but only by 4 1/4 lengths. You see what I'm getting at? This horse is getting closer every single time out. And even going back to his debut effort was 11 3/4 lengths back. So if you look, this horse keeps getting closer and closer to the winning horse every single time out and has continued to improve. Only 4 career races, 3 this year. I don't know. I think this horse will probably benefit if there's a little bit of pace up front with the 2 and 6 going at each other, because this horse does like to come from the back a little bit. But I just think this one could run up into the board and hit the board at a pretty big price, certainly at 15-1 on the morning line. Well, let's go to race number 4 on the card, which is the second of those 2 maiden claiming races. This one's $5,000 going 7 furlongs. Remember, that's 2 turns at Assiniboia. And this is for 3-year-olds and up. And this one, I ultimately ended up on the number 3 Wit Rojo Rojo, I guess I should say, at 9-5 for Jerry Gorno, who I think is going to have a big day on Monday. And this is one that was really close at this level 2 back. If you look 2 races ago, this horse ran in this maiden claiming 5,000 level and just got nipped at the very end. Here's the thing, and this, I'm going to sound like a broken record, but it's true. There's no other significant speed in this race. So this is a horse that I think can probably get the job done at this distance, especially considering there's not a lot of other pace pressure he's going to face. So I think this one should be able to get the distance. And I think we've seen horses do well like this, again, going from that maiden 10 last time out, now dropping back down to the maiden 5. So that's kind of where my top pick is. Where I'm going to go for my value, I'm going to go to the number 6, Big Jim. And I really debated about using this horse as my top pick. I view this horse as a legitimate win threat, and one that I would, if you want to try to avoid the favorite in this race and you go, I don't know, this horse might just fade a lot, then I would really take a look at the number 6. Why? A couple of reasons. One, this horse is getting Lasix for the first time. 2, that you're getting a much better price, 6-1 as opposed to 9-5. 3, this horse is trained by Marvin Buffalo. That's really all. I should have started with that because that's really all you need to know. Marvin Buffalo winning at a 47% clip. Incredible. Just to put this in perspective, Jerry Gorno, who's the meet's leading trainer, okay, has entered 118 horses at Assiniboia and won 21 times. Marvin Buffalo has entered 17 horses and won 8 times. I mean, that's pretty incredible. So he's entering very few horses, but winning when he does. Very selective when he goes in there. This is a horse that is taking the class drop, coming in from Century Mile and dropping from maiden special weight down to maiden claimer. Now, you might say, Matthew, you just talked about that maiden special weight to maiden claimer drop. That's the most important drop in all of horse racing. And you're absolutely right. Here's the thing. This horse has just shown very little in maiden special weight company, especially this year. Has been defeated by 27.5 lengths combined in the 2 races so far this year in that maiden special weight company. And amazingly was defeated by exactly 13 3/4 lengths each time out. So This is not a horse that has been showing even anything, not even showing brief speed, but in a rather short field at 6-1 with a trainer who I trust, with getting Lasix for the first time and taking the class drop, worth a shot, that's for sure. And Buffalo is 33% with horses getting Lasix for the first time. So definitely one to consider using. 6-1, you're getting a much better price than you are on the favorites. And there's some nice works that this horse has going back to the days at Century Mile. So again, one to definitely keep an eye on. I like at 6-1 quite a bit as my value play. Well, let's go to race number 5, which is one of the aforementioned races that I talked about at the top, which was the Manitoba Derby Trial. And this is going 1 mile for 3-year-olds, of course, getting ready for that big Manitoba Derby coming up in August. And for this one, I'm going to go to the second choice. And I'm going to go against a horse that we've all really liked here on Trust the Prophet, Chicago's Gray, 7-5 favorite. This is a horse that has come up to Assiniboia from Oaklawn and done nothing but win, win, win. This horse crushed at 5 furlongs to break its maiden, then goes out and has won 2 consecutive stakes races over Saxon Saga, who is also in this race, and won those comfortably, just heading off the competition, much superior speed. Here's the thing. Now we're going 2 turns. This horse's worst career effort was going 2 turns, was actually defeated by 54 lengths, going 1 mile and a 16th. Sprinting is what this horse does well. Now, front end speed can carry going 2 turns. We've seen that happen at Assiniboia this meet, but I still have a question mark. And at such a short price, I'm not willing to go there. Therefore, I'm going to go to the number 3, Monodora, for Jerry Gorno, who just claimed this horse from Steve Asmussen. That's right. This is a horse that is fresh out of the Steve Asmussen barn and is a miler by definition. This is a horse that has run 10 times in a mile, 6 of those in the exacta. This is a horse that was running in optional claiming $50,000 races at Houston, at Lone Star. This is a horse, you want to hear some competition this horse ran against early in his career? How about Hayes Strike? How about Communication Memo? How about Frank's Honor? These are really nice horses. I mean, Hayes Strike and Communication Memo were briefly on the Derby Trail. So this is the level of competition that he was going up against. Broke his maiden in a maiden special weight 35,000 at Sam Houston, and has promptly also then won a mile-long race at Lone Star in a $30,000 allowance. This is a nice horse that just finished second last time out in an optional claimer 50, going a mile. Again, this horse likes to go the 2 turns, likes to go to the mile. I just think this feels like a horse that Jerry Gorno went down and got specifically for the Manitoba Derby. So that's why he's my top pick in this particular race. Now, my value play in this one is another Jerry Gorno horse, and it's one that I'm really intrigued by, which is Discovery Peak at 15-1. This horse is taking a step up in class, no doubt about it. But what I like about this horse is I think this horse wants the distance. This horse wants a mile. You go back, you look, this horse broke its maiden at Lone Star going a mile. This horse, last time out went a mile, just lost by 2.25 lengths to Lucky Chucky in a $19,000 allowance here. I think this is a horse at 15-1. Do I think this horse is a win threat? No. Do I think this horse can run up and hit the board? Absolutely. And I think that's what you're going to be looking at in this race, because the big question is, there are 3 overwhelming favorites in this race. Monodora, okay? Then you have Saxon Saga and Chicago's Gray. The question is, who's going to sneak into the trifecta? Because I don't know if all 3 of those are going to fire at a mile. A horse like Discovery Peak, I think, is a really useful one to include going that extra distance. I'll also say I think a horse like Rough Customer might be a little interesting. The number 2 horse at 25-1. So there are some interesting big prices that you could go after, I think, in this race underneath if you're looking to build out a trifecta. Well, let's go to race number 6 on the card, which is a $5,000 claimer going 6 furlongs for 3-year-olds and up. We're going to finally try to get past some of this chalk. I know last time out was the second choice, but listen, Assiniboia can be very, very, very favorite heavy. Sometimes we've seen that. I'll never forget where I played I want to say I played a $2 pick 3 ticket and it paid $2.70. I don't even know how that works, but I managed to do it. It's just chalk, chalk, chalk. It happens sometimes. But let's talk about this race number 6 a little bit. I'm going to be on the number 1 horse on usual account at 4-1. Listen, last time out, this horse lost to Tara Tattoo, who was a big time class dropper in that race. And that horse showed a ton of guts. Now, it was going 7 furlongs into 2 turns. And maybe you sit there and go, well, maybe this horse just wants 2 turns. Maybe. The horse didn't run particularly well the race before that. Granted, it was at a claiming 7,500, but not a massive jump up in class. That horse was beaten by 10 lengths that day. Seems like this is one who it just is getting a little bit better at this level, getting a little bit more familiar with the Assiniboia. Every single time out, you're starting to see progressions, right? You go back June 7th, 29 Beyer speed figure, June 21st, 41 Beyer speed figure, July 4th, 44 speed figure, July 10, 50 speed figure. This horse is getting faster the more regularly it's getting run. Some horses are like that. You have the apprentice jockey up aboard, and that one, I got to say, Fraser Abley has been riding some really nice horses and giving some really nice rides. This is a jockey who is 4 for 8 in the exacta, hasn't punched the ticket yet and gotten the win, but has been riding really, really well. Rode this horse last time out and rode this horse quite effectively and really game effort going 7 furlongs. Now we're cutting back to 6. This horse has nice tactical speed, but I think we'll be able to sit more of a tracking, stalking trip. So I like unusual account at 4-1 in this particular race. Now, when you talk about value in this race, I'm going to go to the number 7 Liveryman. And this is one for Ryan Desjardins, who I feel like this is a horse that is going to continue to get better as the meet goes on. If you go back and look at last year, this horse shipped up from Turfway, but Turfway was already running and really didn't have the sort of full 9-month break that a lot of these Assiniboia horses have from, September until June. Okay. This horse went from March 17th to June 1st. Not surprisingly, it took this horse only a race or 2 to get back into the swing of things because it wasn't that long of a layoff. Well, now we do go from that September to June. Now we're 3rd back in the form cycle. I would imagine this is going to be the best effort you're going to see from this horse. Listen, Desjardins has not won a race yet at this meet, but is 8 for 19 in the money. He's getting horses ready. He's getting them prepped. They're running well. They're just not winning quite yet. We saw a trainer last week be able to break through and who had been 0 for 26 going into the meet until last Monday, getting the first win. Now you're going to see Desjardins. I hope he's able to get off the schneid here because he's certainly getting his horses ready and they're running competitively in these spots. I think this one, again, 3rd back in the form cycle, you're going to see the best effort from this one as well. Well, let's go to the final race on the card, which is the 6 furlong optional claimer. That is $10,000 for 3-year-olds and up. And again, we're going to try to get past the heavy favorite here, which is Jeff Fafa. And listen, Jeff Fafa is a really fun horse, but it's an interesting dynamic. And it's interesting when you start to follow Assiniboia, you start to pick up these things. But interestingly enough, going from allowance to optional claiming races is kind of a little bit of a step up in class. And not everybody always thinks of it that way. But Jeff Fafa has been running in this optional, this allowance level racing. And obviously blew the barn doors off the competition last time out, winning by 10 3/4 lengths, and is now installed as the 5-2 favorite. Here's the thing. Jeff Fafa has almost 0 late speed figures, and the previous 2 times out got caught. That 74 Beyer this horse ran last time out, I don't know if that's entirely real. And breaking from the 8 post, we'll see if that's able to be replicable. As a result, the horse I really like is the number 2, Unbroken Star. 9-2 on the morning line for Jared Brown and Jorge Carreno. As I said, always trusted connections, winning at a 34% clip and returning a 239 ROI. So you got to like that. This is a horse that is 2 for 2 at the 6 furlong distance. And more importantly, 2 for 2 at this kind of optional claiming 10 or 12 level. winning 6 furlong optional claimer 12 at Turf Paradise, winning an optional claimer 10 last time out at Assiniboia. So I like the value and the price you're getting at 9-2 on Unbroken Star. Listen, doesn't necessarily, I mean, does have the 74 speed figure, has actually a huge 94 speed figure way back in the day, but recently has had a 74 speed figure, 78 actually, earlier this year at Turf Paradise. So this horse can run up in a big number. Last time out was a 69 speed figure. I think that horse replicates that effort again. This is going to absolutely win. And here's the thing. Unlike Jeff Fafa, this horse has good early speed, does not need the lead, and has much superior late speed to Jeff Fafa, who tends his late speed figures really fall off a cliff. So I like Unbroken Star to be able to apply a little bit of pressure and be able to maintain and pull away coming down the stretch. Now, in terms of value in this race, I love the number 6, McCaig. And McCaig is a horse for Carl Anderson, Stanley Shaddy Jr., up on the mount. This is a horse that is second back from the really long layoff. And this horse is 5-4-5 at the distance and is career 18 for 20 in the money at Assiniboia Downs and just in his career, because he's only ever run at Assiniboia Downs. This is the epitome of a horse that is honest every single time out. The only 2 times this horse has not hit the board was in debut and after a year-long layoff. Those are the only 2 times this horse has never hit the board. Every other time this horse hits the board, now you're giving me 10-1? Yes, please. I will gladly take that bet with McCaig, who I think ran a bang-up race to finish second last time to Unbroken Star, was passing horses late, made a run, and I think, again, bringing this horse back at 6 furlongs where he's had a lot of success, I like it. You're going to get more conditioning. You're going to see an increase with those buyer speed figures for sure. I think McCaig is actually a legitimate win threat in this particular race. Really like this one quite a bit, and a horse that has a lot of versatile and tactical speed. All right. Well, that's going to do it for this week, folks. Make sure to tune in on Monday night. The guys here at Trust the Profits and the ladies have you covered, whether it's Jessica, Carson, Sean, El Hombre, The Formula, Colin, Mike Pellerin. They got you covered. So make sure to press that subscribe button and continue to be a part of the fun there on Trust the Profits. Now, you can always continue to follow me on Twitter at the handle @FailDemenace, and you can continue to get my content at Naira and Naira Bets. Until next time, friends, my name is Matthew DeSantis, wishing you a great and profitable day at the track, and reminding you, friends, it's now post time.